everyone. Thanks for being here. Good afternoon. Awesome. So we're going to give maybe a few more minutes as people shuffle in. Hey, Stefano, glad you're here. Tatiana, hello. So glad y'all are here. If you're able, we love to see your shining, beautiful faces. But if you're not in a place where you can share your video, that's totally fine. Good morning. Hey, Caleb, Alyssa, Ranil, good morning. Well, not morning anymore. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Glad y'all are here. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. If we haven't met, my name is Madison Sutton. I'm one of the program managers on the Venture Intern Program. Welcome to our second coffee talk of the semester. So this is a special one. This is one of our founder talks, and we'll be hearing from two local entrepreneurs, Kim Bryden of Curate and Ola Atilola of Asami Teas. So before we get started, I have a special guest, Olivia Walker, who will be facilitating our conversation today. She is actually a venture intern this semester with Curate. Olivia, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hey guys, I'm excited to be here and to be interviewing Kim and Ola. So I wanted to start off just with introducing Curate. So Kim is the founder and CEO of Curate, and what Curate does is we take like an innovative approach to connect big buyers and small sellers to help like shift the dollar back into local communities. So it's a great forward-thinking company, and I'm really excited to be interning with them this semester. And also another great side of Curate is called Curate Courses, which is actually where Ola and Kim got connected, but we'll go into that a little bit later on. And then Ola is the owner of Asami Teas, and what Asami does is they put a powerful emphasis on sourcing their teas from Africa. So that's really awesome to like place like the importance of like where they're getting their resources from, because not a lot of companies really do that. But so Kim, I will start off with you, and I wanted to ask how your entrepreneurial journey began.
Wow, this is a big question, because at least when I was in school, there wasn't an entrepreneurship track. So I sort of stumbled into it by just being a really observant listener to what was going on around me. When I finished university, it was the middle of the financial collapse of 2009, and I thought I was going to be a museum curator. All of my experiences in college were I worked at art galleries, I worked for the American Film Institute, I worked for Paramount Pictures. It was all geared towards art, and that's what I wanted to do. It's how my mind works. Like, what's the high level vision and message of an exhibit down to the tactical details of the font on the wall. That's just how my mind goes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there weren't a lot of jobs in art during a financial meltdown. So I ended up taking a job at the DC government's Alcoholic Beverage Regulation Administration doing liquor licensing. Yep.
How did you get led to that?
So strange. I hosted parties for families. I would like take coats and make drinks, and it's how I helped pay for school other than nannying. And at one of those events, somebody was like, "Who are you? And why are you making my drink?" You know? So I said I was a recent graduate and I was looking for jobs, and they happened to work there. And so at the same exact time, I was also being recruited to work for the FBI of all places. And
what job were they wanting you to do there?
Counterterrorism. And so I was like, what is going on? So I go through this whole process of
Kim, what was your major?
Marketing and Spanish. So
how did the FBI find you?
College career web, I guess. I don't know.
I guess they are the FBI, so they can pretty much find anyone.
Right. So I'm going through this background check, and I'm starting this work at the DC government. And I just have this moment of like, what am I really doing here? Like, what is really my why in this scenario? And I was meeting all these small business owners who were the ones, you know, picking themselves up from their bootstraps, so to speak, in the middle of a financial collapse. And they would get to me and they'd be like, finally, someone who knows how to use a computer. And the cultural narrative is always like small business, backbone of the American economy. And here I was interacting with small business owners who were just like riddled with, complexities and navigating the system. And so anyway, that's how this led me to understanding more about how does one start and run a small business, specifically a food and beverage business, and learning more about that. Whole Foods found me, and I ended up working with them. When I took the job 4 days later, the FBI called and they were like, "You're cleared. When can you start?" And I was like, "I'm going to go work in the private sector." And they were like, "Oh, like Deloitte." And I was like, "Nope, grocery store." Yeah. So that's what started this whole food journey.
And what was your specific position at Whole Foods?
I was the marketing and community relations team lead, and then I opened stores for them. And so after I was there for, I think, almost 3 years, they wanted me to open and run a Whole Foods myself, be a store team leader. And I had another one of these moments of like, is this really my path? Like being a store team lead at Whole Foods, I don't know. And now it's 2013 and the rise of Instagram and Twitter and how people were shifting how they were purchasing from online to not just offline shopping. I went back to school for digital media management and analytics at Georgetown, and that pushed me in the food tech world. The last company I worked for, they had raised $20 million. They were based out of Brooklyn. I launched new markets for them nationally. And I got really jaded by the cultural narrative of like unicorns and VC funding. And so I was really interested in working with small businesses who actually cared about stable cash flow and like were really connected to their communities and really were creating jobs in their communities.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the fire that birthed Curate.
Yeah, because that's interesting because like Whole Foods has like the health aspect to it. Like they're doing something good, but it's like not exactly like what you were looking for, like which you found through Curate, I guess. Like, but so you opened Curate in 2014, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And so I want to like hear about the evolvement. I don't know if that's a word, but like so I don't know if you guys know, but Kim has 3 parts to her business. It's Curate Connect, Curate Courses, and Curate Consult. So like in what order did like all of those things come about?
These are great questions. So initially, like I had mentioned, the last company I worked for, it was launching markets nationally. And so in the beginning, it was working with founder, owner operators in more of that consulting capacity of when you're looking to launch a new product or launch in a new market, where your outsourced team, your outsourced brain to make that happen. And then I realized this was my own business development bottleneck because there isn't money, right? Like small businesses don't have money. And also if they did, it was still back to that same thing I was trying to work against, which was perhaps that founder, owner, operator, was born into networks of wealth or whatever it might be. And so how do you democratize access to opportunity? That's really what I kept coming back to. And that's how Curate Courses was evolved from that. And so
you started with Curate Connect and then it turned into Curate Courses?
Consult. And then it went to courses.
Okay,
exactly.
Gotcha. So it went Connect, Consult, Courses.
Connect was the last, actually.
Oh, okay, so you started with consult, and then moved over into courses and then Connect. Wait, that is not what I expected because most of what we do is with Connect, I feel like. I mean, we haven't really gotten into our next cohort for NWA, but that's surprising to me just from working for you and stuff.
It's true. And I'll tell you how even that emerged. So after running Curate Courses since 2015 and graduating cohorts of entrepreneurs through the curriculum, you can imagine a lot of people will come back to us being like, okay, like I did the things that we had talked about. I'm in a few farmers markets, maybe I'm in Whole Foods, right? I'm in some of these market opportunities. Now what happens? Now what do I do?
Yeah. So then you were like, I'm going to make a platform for you.
Yeah. I was like, well, why don't we, on behalf of this collective, find more market opportunities? And because I come from grocery, I feel, again, a bit jaded about that side of the food supply chain. So I started looking at food service, which is your corporate cafeterias and universities and hospitals, and how are they doing their purchasing? And what's the opportunity for them to shift their dollars back into local small business? And so, yeah, you're totally right, Liv. This is where we've had most of our conversations, because that's what I'm really excited to launch in Northwest Arkansas.
And so you started in Washington, and then did you move? What came next? Was that
Baltimore.
Not NWA, Baltimore? So Washington, Baltimore, and then now in NWA, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So random, right? You're like,
I know. So that leads to my next question. What led you to Northwest Arkansas?
So in 2020, as we all know, with the Connect side of our business, you can imagine sales were down because what's a convention center in COVID? Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so in the mid-Atlantic, not to like humble brag, but it was sort of like, I know who I need to know. Like there's no door I've explored all the doors I could open. There was nothing more I could do. We were just in a standstill. So instead of me just sort of like twiddling my thumbs, I got in a car and I drove across the country. And I interviewed small town mayors and economic development departments and small business owners to see how they were adapting and innovating in COVID times.
Wow. And that's Tidbit Takes the Road?
Yep, exactly.
Y'all can check that out on Spotify. Kim has a great podcast. I've listened to a few episodes, but
you're so good.
Yes. Well, I have to come prepared.
Yeah. And so when I was on this journey, I already knew I was thinking about a second hub for Curate. I just didn't know where. And then when I got to Northwest Arkansas, and it was this confluence of such a startup ecosystem emerging, plus a really educated and aware consumer base who really were, as I found, even more so, is shopping their values and cares very much about the life and experience you're all leading. And the fact that there is a lot of emphasis on supply chain and what could be a counter narrative to building a more local and regional supply chain. So all of those three things together really, formulated this decision. Plus, I found some really incredible partners and supporters, and that was something I wasn't expecting, like the incredible community of Northwest Arkansas. So some of you are on this call. Thank you for being such great partners and friends.
That's awesome. So like, was NWA like more towards the end of your journey, or was like you came here and you were like, okay, well now I can go home? Like,
yeah, it was smack dab in the middle. And then I got all the way to Arizona. And then I actually flew back to Arkansas before going back to DC. So I made 2 stops.
And then now you've made 1 permanent stop.
Yeah, exactly.
NWA now. Okay, and I'll move over to Ola. So obviously I know a little bit less about your business because I'm an intern for Kim. So I'm excited to like get to know more. But so I wanted to know about where you're from and how that specifically inspired you to create Asami Teas.
Okay, well, thanks. So I'll say I'm one of those rare breed of Northwest Arkansas, right? You can hear from my accent. So originally I'm from Nigeria. So my name is not actually Ola, it's full name Olabiyi, but I don't want to break people's teeth, so I go by the first 3 letters of my
we appreciate it.
The first 3 letters of my name, which is Ola. So like I said, life started for me in Nigeria. Grew up there. I've always had passion for anything agriculture. I don't have any business, any experience in business to say. So but with agriculture, back home we have our own farm. We have
Your family has a farm?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
Wow.
so we grow our own crops, and then we rear, animals to, to be able to, slaughter and process and, sell and things like that. So that's where that, agriculture came from. And I always tell people also, even since I've been in the States, so like, Africa has that opportunity to feed the world. I mean, the natural resources is there, the land, the weather condition is very conducive. We don't get a lot of natural disaster. And we have the people that can do the job. So that's the opportunity is there. So anyway, so fast forward. So I started in Connecticut. So I went to college, started going to college. Then from there, went to North Carolina to do my finish my master's for my undergrad.
Oh, wow. So you have a big educational background.
Oh, well, just like you are doing right now. So I did study food science and technology. I actually still work in the food industry right now.
Okay.
So I've worked with different food industries. So from meat, the likes of Hormel, Cargill's of the world, Tyson, worked in those realm, and worked in the restaurant business too, so I've always looked into the beverage industry, and always reflect back at home, we do drink tea with every meal. And whenever I go to the store, I don't see the type of tea that we drink. And also when I look at those tea, it's already has a brand on it. So you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So the question to everybody, do you know that Africa actually grow tea? Most people don't know.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so you're not the only one. So most people don't know. So it depends on the data you look at and what year you look at the data. So I'll pick one country. Kenya is number 2 or number 3 in the tea producing country in the world.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Unlike China and Sri Lanka and and India, most of the tea that is cultivated and grow in Kenya, they export them out. So 90% is exported out. In China, most of the tea are consumed in China or India. So that's one. You look at other countries in Africa, especially the eastern part of Africa, they grow quite a bit of tea. And it's not just tea. Do you also know that the cocoa that the chocolate that you eat, the cocoa drink that you have all the time, 2 countries in Africa own 70% of the cocoa everywhere in the world. So that's Ghana and Ivory Coast. So all the cocoa that is being used for chocolate is being produced in those 2 countries. And these farmers don't get any,
they get no recognition.
Recognition for what they do. And some of them have not even seen chocolate before. So,
there's a huge disconnect.
Yeah. So they'll take that cocoa from them, take it to Switzerland or wherever they take it to, bring it back to them and sell chocolate to them. And they never seen that before. So that's one of the reasons why I was like, okay, with all this work that the farmers are doing and no recognition for them, I wanted to be able to create an alternative market for them, to be able to showcase their good quality products, and also with the knowledge I have in the food industry, be able to help them register, with FDA, make sure that all the necessary regulatory program they need to have in place, they have it in place, and be able to, sell their product and give back to them.
Wow. So you and Kim have some similarity in y'all's education, or you guys give these small businesses or farmers in Africa really valuable education about helping them get into different markets. So that's awesome. Absolutely. And so you ended up how did you end up in Northwest Arkansas specifically?
That's a great question. So working in the food industry, you get to work different states. So after college, I was in Omaha, Nebraska, Fremont, Nebraska to be precise. Yeah, that actually flashed back to, Connecticut and New York. I've never seen snow before when I first moved into the US, right? So my first experience of snow was like, blizzard. I dipped my leg in the snow. It was like up to my knee. I was like, what is this? So surprisingly, I end up in another cold area. Fremont, Nebraska was pretty cold. All the wind and all that, working with Hormel. So after that, moved to Atlanta, Georgia to work for the same company.
Mhm.
And then from there, did work in Columbus, Ohio and some other places. Then my wife got a job with Format. So like, where is Northwest Arkansas? So I had to go get the map. I was like, where is that? So for the first few years, was wondering like, what are we doing over here? I mean, moving from Atlanta or Columbus, Ohio,
Uh-huh.
a bigger city and things like that. But eventually, it became home, and we love it. I know I'm digressing to to answer your question. That's how we got here. We love being in Northwest Arkansas. It's a great place to be.
Okay. And so what year did you start Asami Teas?
Good. So our first 4 years is working with the farmers. So we started in 2016, but the first 4 years is just traveling back and forth, be able to know. It's like creating a supplier approval program, but in this case, creating a farmer approval program. So you don't want to work with any farmers, right? So you want to make sure that they align with your goals and your why and all that.
Yes.
So we're doing all that for the first year, and after you've lived with the farmers, stay in their house, go plug the leaves with them, tea leaves with them, or the cocoa farm with them. You
Mhm.
know what they need, how they do things, and you are able to have that connection with them. And for me, I grew up in the farm. I know how it is also, so I was able to. So we used that for the first 4 years to do all that. We launched in the middle of COVID, 2020, June.
That's
So
impressive.
yeah, it was impressive. Yeah. I mean, the only regret I have is we should have launched earlier, but never too late, right? But
Yeah,
we're
for
still
sure.
doing good. Yep.
Um, that's nice. I bet the farmers are really appreciative of like being able to like be in business with someone that like is going to go see their farms and like is from Nigeria and like understands the background and like has respect for them too. Because like you said, like those farmers like have never even seen chocolate or something like that. And so like the people that are buying from them, like I guess maybe in the United States or something, don't have like that same passion for like giving those farmers like I said, like the recognition they deserve. So I bet they're so grateful for to be able to have Asami Teas to buy their tea leaves.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, most big companies, corporations, when they go and buy, they're looking for the lowest price, the lowest cost that can give the shareholders, money back and all that. So they are not looking into, giving back, and at the same time, they are not looking into the best price for that farmer. They're looking for, the price that will give them more profit. So when we go, we are, um, that's one of the criteria that we use when we are getting samples from the farmers or when we're getting product from them. We don't want that relationship, because we know the price that we're going to buy the tea from, right? So when we're doing sampling or cupping, when we get samples, we do blind cupping. So cupping is just trying to taste which tea. So we don't want to know where the product came from, so that doesn't affect our judgments. We don't have any bias to the criteria. So we use that as a leverage. Like, okay, we'll taste all the teas, and then we can decide, regardless of the price, regardless of the relationship we have with the farmers, and then we can pay them the higher price compared to what they're actually offering. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. And I had an important question that will lead into how you and Kim y'all's businesses got involved with each other. But so how did you meet Kim, and then how did you get involved with Curate Courses?
Yeah, that's interesting because a few people knew that I started the business, and they did introduce Curate and send me link to the course. I filled out the course, and that's how it started. And I was so glad that I joined because I wanted to do the spring class, but Kim persuaded me to like, okay, the fall is open if I was able to. So I squeezed into the fall, and it was such a like I said earlier, I don't have any business background. So going through the course, I was able to learn tremendously, with other like-minded entrepreneur. With 10 of us, 8 weeks, right? And we went through this every morning. Came with open mind to be able to learn from all the teaching that came, and all the we have some other visitors that are guests that presented, and then you have assignments and things like that to be able to go and reflect and learn and do things, and so it was like taking you back to school, but at the same time learning about business. So it was very helpful in many ways. So I encourage anybody that have a chance to do that. And like I said earlier, I think that was the first one for Northwest Arkansas, probably some in DC already. So the spring semester already started, I think. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the other entrepreneurs will do this year. And I'll be looking forward to actually going there during their pitch, because that was my first time that I had to do a pitch. So I was a little shaky. I was like, when they called me, like,
and
whoa.
then you won.
I won, and I was so surprised. Like, what did I say that made me win? But they told me what. So
just to explain that to people who may not be as familiar. So after the Curate Course cohort, which has 10 small businesses that participate, there's like a competition called, is it Curate Pitch Competition?
It's the pitch showcase. Exactly.
So each small business gets to like create their pitch and like set up a presentation. And then Kim, are you the one that chooses the winner?
No, it was a panel of 4 judges and community vote.
So how did you choose those people, or like where did those people come from?
Yeah, so typically we try to find someone who is in some sort of financial capacity. So in this case, it was Philip, the executive director of Forge, and that's our partner for Curate Courses.
Yes. Okay, I see.
Someone who's in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and in this case, it was Jeanette Baeza Collins, and she works with Northwest Arkansas Council. Someone who is food industry experts, and so both Ashley, she has Metzger and Roth, and she's a co-packing expert, and Randy Wilburn, he's the president of the board for Ozark Natural Foods, but he's also head of I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. So he has both media and food background. So that was our panel of judges, plus the community got to cast their vote too. Yes. And the winner of the pitch competition gets $5,000 cash.
Yes, I know. I read the article about Ola and how he won and everything, but I was wondering, why do you think Ola won? Like, what stood out about his company?
Oh, okay. This is interesting. I think that people, I mean, you've already said it all, Ola, but I think people are now desiring more transparency in what they're putting into their bodies. And by being able to have that direct sourcing mapped out in what you're consuming is becoming more and more of an importance for consumers. And Ola really articulated that very well in his pitch, and how the monies would go to further enhancing that goal. Yeah. And so a lot of times for myself, when I'm listening to pitches, people might end being like, and I need this money for marketing. And I'm just like, but what does that even mean? You know, like, what do you mean by marketing? And like, how is this going to help you further achieve this core aspect of your business. And
Mhm.
so, like I said, I think Ola really articulated how that money would further enhance that unique value proposition of his business.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so Ola, will you talk about how you're using the $5,000 to support your QR code plan?
Yes, so that's yeah, that's work is in progress right now on that. So basically, we have a new canister design, and on that canister, we insert a QR code, and the QR code is going to link to our website. And when you go to the website, you get to read more about, like Kim talked about, the transparency, about where the tea or the cocoa product is coming from. You get to learn more about the farmer that did, pluck the tea leaves or, harvest the cocoa pod. You get to, know where those things are coming from and how the way they get to, us in Northwest Arkansas, which is where we, process the tea and the cocoa product.
Mhm.
And then you also get to tip the farmer if you want to. So
I
you
love
can,
that. Wow.
yeah, you can decide to tip the farmer. So you have that connection with the farmer by knowing what they do, how they
Mhm.
do things, and also if you want to invest in them, you can tip them.
That is such like a creative and easy way for a consumer to like shed light on like where their tea is actually coming from. Like if I saw a QR code that said scan here and you can see wherever the farmer is or whatever, I would just be like, okay, that's cool, and then do it and like make a connection and probably tip because that's so amazing. Like I don't know, there's just like such a strong like I don't know, it's just though like we are thousands of miles away from the farmers, it's such like a great way to feel more connected to them and like where your tea actually started from. So that's so awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, right.
and Ola, so what do you think were some of the most important things you learned through Curate courses?
Oh gosh, so many. So some of the most important thing is about the business, like I talked about earlier. You get to collaborate also with other business that are in Northwest Arkansas. So it still happens right now. During the course, we did a collaboration with Battlesby.
Mhm.
We did a giveaway, and right now I still get emails from other entrepreneurs that were in that program. Like where do you get this package from, or where do you do this, or who makes your label, or who did your website. That collaboration is there. Having a business, it's sometimes you feel like you're the only one doing this. You feel lonely, but it's like you're on the island.
Yeah,
But
like no one else understands like how hard it can be.
yeah, with the Curate Course and bringing us all together, we get to have that network even after the program and still connect and still do things together.
Mhm.
And the benefit of other than learning from the course, the benefit of the exposure
Yeah.
to the market also it's huge. Northwest Arkansas is a great place. You have JB Hearns, you have Walmart, you have Tyson, you have the U of A right there. You have all these talented people around. They get to learn more about your business and spread the news and become an advocate also through hearing about what you did and how you're doing things, and connection with Curate and things like that. So I can keep going on and on, but the benefit is huge. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I like didn't really know, or I guess I like right before I even interviewed with Kim, like way back in, I guess, December, January, something like that. I kind of knew what was going on, but like as I've been able to be a part of this more, like I'm realizing like how helpful like a program like this is for like small businesses because like I mean it can be really difficult like just to be dealing with everything and not knowing like certain laws or whatever or regulations like and what's cool is that Curate courses is like area specific so that like you are getting like an experience that is very like catered to like what you're actually going to be dealing with. It's not just like some broad business program that like doesn't like directly teach you like what you're going to be dealing with in the area. So I think that's awesome. And question for Kim, what are some of the biggest changes that you see in the small businesses that you teach and mentor from start to finish in the program?
Can I just say my heart is glowing? Wow. I'm so glad you're recording this, Madison. I'm gonna like keep it in a Dropbox folder and watch it when I'm sad. So thank you both so much. Yeah, I would say that just to echo what Ola said, I think people, and myself included, also as a small business owner, it can feel really lonely and overwhelming to be a business owner. And so the most growth I see, and it's somewhat intangible, but it's a new level of confidence. And by confidence, I don't just mean like I'm walking into a room and pitching, but also confidence that like someone else has my back here, or like I don't have to feel like I have to do everything on my own. Maybe somebody else has already learned this lesson and can shed light on it for me. So that's one big thing. And then the other is very tactical. I mean, I try to say this almost every class, that being in business is all about building relationships and building trust amongst, one another, but also with different stakeholders you have, following up to emails, being responsive. It's kind of like dating, all of y'all. You don't want to be ghosted,
Yeah, exactly.
So there's some of that. It's not just about your profit and loss statement or what might you need to develop your brand and your logo and your packaging, but really what does it mean to be a business owner and establishing that holistic part of you, right? It's about your mental health and well-being, how you're relating with other people, how you're building that trust. So I think those two things, outside of just, again, how do you deal with the supply chain?
Yeah.
Important. And there's other aspects to business that we also address.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I like what you said about being responsive. Like I've learned like through interning and like other things I'm a part of, like whenever someone responds to me within like the first hour of me emailing them, I am like so appreciative of that, because I'm like, I needed something and like you're helping me. And like, I don't know, I just always like remember if someone's responsive, because it's just so helpful to me, like because they're solving my problem.
And
like,
even if it's a no, right? It's like,
it's like I know and I can move
your
on.
expectations, right?
Exactly. Okay, so now I have some questions for you both, just about like your journey as being like entrepreneurs and the challenges you face. So Kim, what's like one of the biggest challenges you faced throughout like Curate's journey?
I mean, maybe this is just like a life challenge, not just a business owner challenge, but I think we're all collectively facing a lot of uncertainty, and it just gets compounded being a business owner, because obviously in order for me to pay my own bills, I have like I earn all the money that is coming in. Exactly. And so I think over time, I've had to learn over and over again what it means to set healthy boundaries with my time, to not overextend myself, to find people who I don't have to convince. Like it's quicker now for me to determine whether it's an employee or a buyer or a Curate Courses student, like who gets it and then wants to do the work.
Yeah.
Because if I have to spend my time convincing you that this matters, like I just don't have the time. You're either on board or you're not. Like this is the future, people. Let's do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had something to say. I forgot what I was going to say, but it was good. Okay. Maybe it'll come back in a second. But
so just my management of my time.
Yes.
And how that relates
to say is that I'm sure all small business owners can relate to this, but you could spend 18 hours of your day fixing your business, doing whatever you need to be doing. But like, it's so important to like learn your time management and like, because you don't want to spend all your time doing this and then like you'll just end up crashing and burning if you're not like taking care of yourself and stuff. Because
Exactly.
yeah, you have to like, self-care is so important, and like learning to set boundaries is really great too. So that's awesome.
And also what happens, and why I feel so empathetic to all of the students that are in Curate courses, I am at and have been at the stage where you're starting to build a business beyond just yourself. And so delegating tasks can be both, like I said, empowering because you've freed up some time, but then it's also really scary because now you got to pay someone else, and also it's like not in your control anymore.
It's not.
But yeah, that's scary.
I can definitely see that being scary. Have you had some like maybe some anxiety about like handing Northwest Arkansas to me? You be honest.
Actually, Liv, you have been such a gem, and it's because of that responsiveness.
Thank you, Kim.
You know what I mean? Like that means so much.
Yes. Well, you've taught me a lot about like, if I'm ever like a manager or managing people one day, like I will take a lot of your values and implement that into whatever I'm doing the rest of my life. So
oh my gosh, Liv, Madison, this is just like
this is so wonderful. And Ola, I want to ask you, what has been your biggest challenge?
Oh gosh. Yeah, so like Kim talked about, the uncertainty of the business is always something. We knew that COVID is going to happen, right? So COVID happened, and then we all had to adjust. For us, the product that we sell is not from here, so we had to. Everything was stopped during the COVID back in Africa and everywhere else. Though the farmers were harvesting tea and plucking and processing tea, they don't have anywhere to store it because they were producing more in abundance, and the price of tea dropped. But they can't ship it across the water, so that was very challenging. And then when it gets to the ports, when they open the port and finally got to the port, logistic and all that, there's that bottleneck, and your product is stuck there. You can't get it out, or you can't get it fast enough and all that. So that you adjust one way or the other. That's one of the things. And time management is another thing. You can't do everything yourself, so you got to delegate. And I always say, I'm never going to find balance, but I always find ways to get things done.
Yeah, so, exactly.
So
your biggest challenge has been like something that's not even in your control, like all the supply chain stuff.
Absolutely.
So that is difficult to deal with, because you're like, I mean, I'm doing what I can, but it's sometimes it's not that it's not enough, but it's just really out of your hands.
Yeah. So
that's scary. And Ola, what have you learned about yourself through creating Asami Teas, like from start to present?
Working in the food industry exposed me to a lot of things. But the things I always tell myself is, I wish I've started early, the entrepreneur business. So I'll tell anybody, like, if you want to do it, if you're thinking about starting a business, just do it. Yeah. Like Nike, just do it.
Do it, exactly.
Start and do it, and you learn as you go. You have some resources along the way to help you. You have community of people, friends, family. Reach out back to your professors back in college and everybody else. They'll pitch in, they'll help you and all that. But just the difficult part is just starting. So
we have the quote at the Entrepreneurship Hub that we have some of our VIP stuff at, but it's, what is it, Amelia Earhart, and she's like, the best way to do it is to do it, or just the best way to get something done is just to do it, something like that. But yeah, so I like that you said that, because I mean, it's so true. Like, you can't just sit there like pondering, questioning. Like, sometimes you just have to do it and see what happens.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Risk is everything. You're gonna have risk. You're gonna have to see what outweighs the risk. Risk of not doing it, or risk of doing it and then failing, or risk of just sitting there. So you just have to take the risk and do it.
Yes, so important. And so like, how has your business evolved and changed since 2014, or not 2014, 2016?
Yeah, so 2016 is when we started working with the farmers, but we did not put anything in the market.
Yeah.
So I can speak about, from 2020, since we, since we started, somebody wrote something.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too.
So since we went into, market, so how did it evolve? So our first year is creating awareness. So, we're a new brand. Nobody know, about, Asami, or we're not iconic yet. So hopefully in the future, we're going to be one of those iconic brands and
Yeah.
the household brand. So the first year is creating awareness and building, the customers and getting our name out there. And mostly 90% of our business is e-commerce. So, pandemic happened, everybody's buying online, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
So in that aspect, it has evolved in so many ways that I did not expect it to. Originally, originally we wanted to go into the bottling. So that's that my first thing is going to the bottling. But at the same time, it's hard to ship liquid, right? It's very expensive shipping liquid. So we
and glass.
Yeah.
Not just the liquid, but the glass is also very heavy.
Very heavy. Yeah. So it's a lot of limitation with things like that. So the funding to start bottling business is not small. So we step back and it's like, okay, instead of doing both at the same time, we'll do the tea and see which of the tea that we didn't do a lot of market research, also because of you can get people to do a lot of taste testing. So you can see we have a lot of skills right now, and we're pulling out the ones that we think we can redo or change or get better. And then from there, we eventually go back into the bottling and do what we have to do. But the business, take a different structure after this happened. But
yeah, it's smart to like protect yourself from those issues that, like the glass, like a lot of glass breakage can happen if you're shipping internationally, and liquids, you said it's very expensive. Like that's smart that you're like finding ways to like avoid those issues, but still like creating something amazing out of it. So that's awesome. And if you guys could like give some piece of advice to anyone that wants to start their own business, what would you say?
Do you want to start, Ola?
Yeah, so I think I said something earlier. If you want to start your own business, just do it. Start.
Just do it.
You get people around you to help. You don't have to have a lot of money to start. I think I was listening to one of those podcasts one of these days. Somebody said, even if you want to buy some clothes and resell it, you don't need a lot. Just think about an idea. Start and you can venture out from there gradually. So you have resources around, from the community, from the college, from everywhere, church, reach out to people who will help you. The most difficult part is just getting it started.
Starting, you always have to start somewhere for sure.
I would say that for those of you who are still in university or not, I guess it's applicable to anybody, but the things that you might learn that you're like, when am I ever going to use this? Actually comes in handy, because I think the best business skill is being able to walk into any room and have a conversation with any person who's there. And so being able to read news articles that aren't in your industry, or podcasts, or listen to podcasts that aren't specific to your interests. There are so many opportunities I've had by just being open to whomever's there, being an active listener, hearing what their problem is, and then shifting our solution to match whatever the problem was that person was saying, as opposed to sales. Oftentimes you might, think of your classic movie example of like the sales guy who's like, I've got this water for you. Don't you want to buy it? You know, you didn't even hear anything about if they even needed water, right? And so I think that's the biggest thing I continue to tell, you know, people is be an active listener. What is actually the problem someone's experiencing? And be able to start having those conversations on a wide variety of topics, like truly, like blockchain to Eastern philosophy to, I don't know.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah, I'm picking up random topics out of the air.
Adapt to your audience.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, that'll end up benefiting you like in the long run for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I definitely want to work on, is like widening my knowledge about different things. Like I think I need to read some more books or something so that I can have more important conversations with people that I may not have previously been able to have a conversation with.
Yeah, one of the things that I had shared with Liv was this like white paper that the Rockefeller Foundation put together on our food system. And, you know, it's just good to know that people are like, what language are people using when they talk about this work? So that way, if you're then having a conversation, you can remember some of those key words and you seem, you know, more expert than maybe you, you know, because you've picked up on the vernacular, that jargon. And so I implore everyone to do that.
Sorry, my roommates got home, so I'm warning them to stay a little quieter.
No worries. Yeah.
On a call. Okay, got it. All right, so now we have 8 minutes left. So let's open up to the audience for Q&A. Does anyone have anything that they wanted to ask Kim or Ola?
So many, you know, screens off. It's like, I wonder who might be there.
Yeah, you can type it in the chat too if you don't want.
Yeah, if you don't want to speak up. Yeah. They like to leave it up to the mystery or the imagination. Ola, do you have anything? Oh, we have one.
Okay,
Nick
somebody
said,
asks, are there any other
Nick said, Ola, are there any new teas that you think people should try besides your own, maybe?
Okay. Beside my what, sorry?
Varieties you have?
Maybe your own or other teas that you like?
Oh yeah. So we have some few new teas that are coming. But I don't know what you've tried make yet, but you know, let's use 1 minute to do like a quick tea lesson. So tea, so colloquially, tea is anything that is steeped in water, right? But the true tea is actually anything that is from the Canister sinensis plant, which is now the tree, the tea plant. So with that tea plant, you can have different types of tea. So that's how your white tea comes from, your green tea, your yellow tea, your purple tea, your oolong. Those are just the different process from making from that one plant. So one plant, different variety. Then you have the tisanes, which are not like herbs that are not tea. So those will be like your chamomile, your hibiscus, your lemon, and all that. Those are not tea, but once you blend them together, like I said earlier, everything that is steeping water is called tea. So we always have in mind that tea has benefits, regardless of whatever tea it is you're drinking. There is always health benefits associated with the tea. Me and Tin are just going through this right now because some of the things we put on the website, like are we still selling the wellness, or are we selling promoting the tea culture and also promoting the African farmers? So that's one of the things we're trying to. But purple tea is a new variety of green tea. So you have the Canister sinensis and Canister sinensis asamica, which is another variety. And when purple tea is actually grown, the leaves are instead of green like the regular tea leaves, this is actually purple. And when you actually brew the tea, you brew it just like you brew your green tea because it goes through the same process as green tea, and it gives you like a purple hue. And there's this hype about green tea back in the days is still there. Purple tea is the new one right now. The benefit is huge with
Wow.
purple tea. So I'll say you should look up purple tea. And it's only grown in Africa, Kenya.
And then Tom is from Food Loops. Hi, Tom. And he asked, Ola, how do you educate customers about your teas?
Okay. So somebody talked about purple tea right there. Yes. How do we educate people about tea? So most people, that's one of the challenges. People prefer coffee than tea because the alertness and some other things. But tea doesn't give you that, jitterness and crash and all that. Slowly the caffeine is there, but it slowly sip that into your bloodstream. It's not like coffee that get that caffeine and then you crash.
Yeah.
So we talk about the benefits to people that are newcomers, but also the challenge is most people are used to the commodity tea like Lipton. So like Lipton, it's more like the fanning and the dust in the old paper bag with a stapler compared to the full leaf that we sell. So with the full leaf, you get in all the flavor. When the tea leaves actually unfold, you see it, and you can steep the leaves multiple times, and you're getting all the benefits. So unlike Lipton, once you throw it in your teacup and pour your water in there, you get that dark one flavor type tea. But with the real tea like oolong, which we bring in very soon, very complex, especially some of them are roasted, some of them are steamed when they process them, and you can get multiple brews out of it. You can get at least 6 brews, some of the oolong, and then you can do a kill brew, which you just leave it there. And so it's like I don't want to say wine because not some of you are not old enough to drink wine, but based on the
6 months.
So based on the location, based on the region where the tea is from, just the same thing, just the grape. So
this is making me think that I've been to I went to Tokyo and I went to a tea ceremony in Japan, and this made me think, Ola, we should have a special event of a tea cupping where we walk through all these processes together.
Awesome. I will love that. Yes, let's do it.
Cool.
If we do this in person sometime, I'll bring tea for everybody.
Oh, fun.
That would be
so Kim, let's put that together. I would love to. Yeah.
Let's do it. We can host it at the hub.
Oh, I'll attend. I love that.
Do you ever have butterfly pea tea?
Yeah,
I have. Because you said purple tea, butterfly pea tea is also purple, but interestingly, when you steep it and you add, let's say, lemon to it, it turns it pink.
Oh, that's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So yeah, same as purple tea. When you add, so the purple hue is kind of fainted, like not like a deep. It's like a plum type color. But when you add a little bit of lemon into it, it's give you like intense, more purple color. Yeah, it changed from purple to like pink, sort of. But yeah, what makes that color change is the anthocyanin in it that makes the color change. So that's that chemical in it.
Love it. Food science.
Yeah, I'm getting lots of education about tea. Yeah, so it's 1 now, but does anyone have any last words about anything?
Liv, you were great.
I was so nervous.
No, you were a rock star, Olivia.
Oh,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
I really tried my best, but yeah, I've never done something like this. But I was like, might as well. Deb asked me, so I was like, well, I do work for Kim, so could be cool.
Yes, thank you so much, Liv and Kim and Ola. Thank you for joining us for this conversation today. This has been one of my favorite coffee talks so far.
Oh,
without
great.
question.
Well, Ola, it was great to meet you and speak with you about your teas. And Kim, I will see you on the Slack or in person next week. So
See you Monday.
and
Yeah.
and in person on Monday. So I'm excited for that. But I guess we can end our call. And this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here.
Bye.
Sure,
Y'all have a good
yeah.
afternoon.
It's fun. Yeah, appreciate you. Bye.
See you soon, Ola. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys.